staff's the hardest thing. We've had issues. I've been managing for 15 years in excess of that, and staff's always been the number one problem. The hospitality industry are always the ones who seem to wear the brunt of the taxes. Customers come in and say, every time we come in it's 50 cents dear, and when they say, well, it's not our fault, it's what's happening, the government are putting it up. They've just put a freeze on it, which is really good news for us.
Health would be at the top of my list, you know, just more funding spent on pretty well any area of health. Obvious areas like the emergency department, which a lot of people would have experienced the long waiting times there. I'm getting older, my husband's getting older. Things like any of our insurances, whether it's health, house or car insurance, everything's just going up.
The doctors are under a massive amount of pressure, and I suppose there's lack of doctors. Cost of living is a big thing because obviously high interest rates affects our business because we're not selling as much real estate. At the moment, because of the interest rates where they are, people are not buying investment properties. So sooner or later there's going to be an outcry of a shortage of investment properties, as in rental properties.
If I get cold, well, I'll throw a blanket over me. If it's hot, I don't use the air conditioning, I just close the curtains over. And sometimes I go down to Lifeline, you know, they've got free bread there. I go to the op shops and, you know, buy clothes, and I don't go to expensive shops or anything else. They say a lot what they're going to do. To me, they're not trying to help with pensions and cut the prices back on food and bus services, all that sort of thing.
We run two really well-run businesses. We look after our staff really well. You feel like you would maybe get a bit of a hand for doing that, but you just get punished the more people you employ. Death by a million cuts as far as owning a business goes, whether it's employing people, being up 30% over the last 5 or 6 years, or insurance doubling. We can only charge so much for a coffee. Got a bill for coffee beans the other day that is literally double what we paid 6 years ago.
Living expenses. It's getting pretty expensive to, I guess, raise a family. Hard to go out and spend a weekend without spending a fortune. Biggest one is our money. Feel like a wage has just gone in 2 weeks between mortgage, bills. But yeah, money would have to be the biggest one, keeping us up.
My husband is in healthcare, so I think that's one of the key issues, especially Tasmania. As an immigrant myself, having said that, I've been here about 16 years and I'm quite active in the community. I think this narrative recently that immigrants are the cause of all the troubles that are in Australia right now, especially the cost of living crisis, the dearth of homes, available homes and things like that is a bit concerning.
I'm a glass half full person. I generally believe there is blue sky. I would just like to see, post the election, we've got a stable government, and we've got one that can make some decisions that will assist generally the community and the business sector, and we can move forward with simply more confidence, because I think that is the key to this. There's just not enough confidence out there in the current climate.
First Nation people make up roughly 3.8% of Australia, and we just don't have that sort of representation in Parliament. And until we do, policies will just continue to be made for us rather than with us. You know, there are events where traditional owners aren't being acknowledged, and that kind of gives the wrong message that our culture and our heritage isn't really respected. The decisions that are being made at the moment, they're not really representing what we want. They're not representing our elders, our communities.
Obviously, the cost of living generally and the cost of groceries, I'm not really sure what they can do about it. Geopolitically, we've got a lot going on, and I don't think too many people really know. We don't want to stress everybody out, but we could have some shocks financially based on other, countries' decisions and things like that. But I feel like this time people might be voting a bit more based on their own back pockets.
How do we move forward and ensure that the climate crisis is addressed whilst not throwing us into economic poverty? I've got kids and grandkids. I want to see them have a sustainable future. I want the environment that they grow up in to be as pristine as we can possibly make it. I've got 3 adult children who've just entered the housing market, so I do lay awake at night and worry about the size of their mortgage.
They need to be spending money in the right spots. You know, decent roads, decent education. You've got to have insurance now and everything, and that's just going up exponentially as well. Cost of living is the thing that's killing everybody at the moment, especially my groceries. Hence the little garden I've got going here. You don't know if you're going to make it to the next payday.
Marine life is really important to me, and pressing at the moment is the whole expansion of the salmon farms. To further expand is really not good for our environment and not good for our future generations. Education in this country is a really big issue. We're not reaching the standards that we really should be. Health is paramount and it's always underfunded.
I feel like there needs to be more accessible and affordable housing and living arrangements. I was on just under $500. Almost all of the houses around this area, the lowest I could find was I think 1 or 2 for $450 and the rest were all $500 plus. And then you still need to think about food and water and power. I want to move out and make my own life, but I just cannot afford that.
It's the cost of living, just for basic services, power, insurances and groceries. You used to be able to go to the supermarket and buy $150 worth a week. Now that's $400 to $500 and you're not getting any extra. Rent, and if someone has to pay $500 a week in rent, it doesn't really leave much money for medications. There's nothing left.